Being a fighter doesn't mean you have to be the type that gets into close melee range just to kill your enemies. You can do it from a long ways away too. So today let's talk about the Arcane Archer. Hey fellow Game Masters, I'm Richard Quiner and welcome back to the RPG Daily, your daily dose of all things tabletop role-playing games, helping you build your world and master your game. Today we're talking about the Arcane Archer. Traditionally, Arcane Archers were elite elven warriors who used magic and archery to defend their homes, but tradition has a habit of changing over time, and so now pretty much anyone can use these arcane archery tricks. As the name implies, this martial archetype is meant to be a long-range fighter, staying back, dealing death from a distance, and also using arcane shots, which we'll talk about a little bit later, to kind of control the battlefield and deal with opponents in different ways. So let's dive into what you get as an Arcane Archer. First, at level 3, when you choose this archetype, you get what's called Arcane Archer Lore. This gives you extra proficiencies and skills that you might need when dealing with magic. You can choose to have a proficiency in either Arcana or Nature, and you get to choose to have the spells either Prestidigitation or Druidcraft available to you. Both are decent options. I think with Arcana might be a little more useful in some games. It really depends on context. Context is everything, but that's Arcane Archer lore. Also at level 3, you get access to Arcane Shots. In a nutshell, Arcane Shots are different magical enhancements that you can apply to your arrows as you fire them at your enemy. A more long-term explanation, at level 3 you're able to learn 2 options from the Arcane Shot list. The full rundown of Arcane Shot options is actually going to be in another video because there's 8 of them. There's one for each school of magic, so I'm doing a whole different video on the Arcane Shots. At level 3, you gain access to 2 of those options, which you can use up to 2 times per short or long rest. Once per turn, when you fire an arrow, you can choose to use an Arcane Shot. If the Arcane Shot option requires you to make an attack roll, you can choose to use that option when you actually successfully hit the target. If the Arcane Shot option does not use an attack roll and instead uses saving throws such as dexterity, you will expend that Arcane Shot option when you fire the arrow instead of when you hit the target. If an Arcane Shot option does require a saving throw, the saving throw DC is 8 plus your proficiency plus your intelligence ability score modifier. As I mentioned, you have 2 uses of Arcane Shot that you can use per short or long rest, and you gain additional Arcane Shot options at levels 7, 10, 15, and 18. At level 7, you get the feature Magic Arrow, which works like this. When you fire a non-magical arrow from your bow, it becomes magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunities to non-magical damage. A lot of creatures higher levels especially have this resistance that they cannot be damaged, or they have resistance to damage from non-magical weapons of piercing, slashing, and bludgeoning. This overcomes that and allows you to still cause damage to your target. Once the arrow hits the target though, it loses its magical ability, so you don't get to go pick up that arrow and still have a magic arrow. It just becomes a regular mundane arrow once again. At level 7, you also get the feature Curving Shot. Curving Shot lets you control a magical arrow when it's in flight. When you fire a magical arrow, and I believe that this means when you fire a mundane arrow and it becomes magical, also works. How this works is when you make an attack with a magical arrow and you miss on that initial attack roll, you can then use your bonus action to redirect the magical arrow at a different target who is within 60 feet of your initial target, re-rolling the attack roll in the process. Basically, this lets you recover. If you've missed a shot, you can try again on a different target and hopefully save some arrows and still deal some damage. At level 15, you get Ever Ready Shots. What this means is you are never caught entering a combat situation without having an Arcane Shot use available to you. When you roll initiative, if you have no more uses of Arcane Shot, you will regain 1 at the start of that combat. This video is pretty short, but come back in 2 days as I go over the Arcane Shot options, and you'll see all the versatility of those options and how they can be used with the Arcane Archer. This class is pretty interesting. You can see right off the bat, it is a dexterity-based fighting class. It's meant to be long range, so when it comes to equipment, you'll probably go with the leather armor and the bow. It would go really well with the archery fighting style and also the sharpshooter feat. One thing I should have mentioned earlier that I totally just glazed over and didn't even say is that the Arcane Shot options only work when you fire an arrow from a longbow or a short bow, so no crossbows can be used for the Arcane Shot option. Let me know what you think of the Arcane Archer, and come back in a couple days as we cover all the Arcane Shots. If you're new to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and if you like the video, hit the like button as well. It really helps the channel get out there so more people can see what we've got going on here. If you need some monsters or other figures for your tabletop gaming, go check out my Etsy shop, Adventures in 3D, where I 3D print minis to sell to you. It helps support the channel and keeps things going here, making more content. So I would appreciate that as well. If you want to chat D&D with other nerds, check out our Discord server where you can find and talk with us, and we talk D&D stuff. All that being said, I've been Richard. Thanks for watching.